Welcome back, watch fans, and here we have another unboxing and review of another Longines. And again, I probably mispronounced that. If I do, let me know. But to be honest, I'm doing the best I can. And I have really enjoyed this brand, and I think this is the third Longines that I have tried out. And I've been impressed each time, and I've lately been very into these pilot style watches. So I'm liking the pilot style as well as the, of course, field watch style. And Longines has a nice one that they have in a few different sizes that I think fits the bill for either one of those. So let's take a look. Now, ta-da, beautiful box. Longines does a really nice job. Beautiful presentation box, well done, well appointed with that glossy finish. These come with the book that has a warranty card inside of it. I'll grab that in just a second, but set that to the side. It's tough to get out of there, but they have a really nice, well done book with instructions, etc. I'm sure people these days disregard a lot of that. Warranty card, etc. comes in the back of these generally. I think that I have it inside of the actual case. And here we have that box. Ta-da, very nice. Well done, Longines. They're all pretty close to the same in the way they present. So here we go. Comes with a COSC certificate. Cost, of course, those of you who know understand that that is a very fancy high level of chronometer. Makes it a certificate showing that it is in fact a very accurate watch. So there we go. And there we have it, the Longines Spirit. Now, I will say I have been very impressed with this watch. And there it is. You have it in the classic pilot style with those applied numbers. They're, of course, outlined in a little bit of, polished metal. You've got the chronometer certification right there with the 5 stars. And I hear that a lot of people are a little polarized by those 5 stars. I think the 5 stars look really cool. And I love this blue dial. That is kind of a sunburst dial. I think it looks great, and I have been very impressed with it. It does have a screw down crown, as you can feel, of course. Longines right there with their little logo, the little wings. And of course, this brand itself, Longines, it has heritage. It's been around since, I believe it's 1832. It was originally started in Switzerland. Of course, yes, at this point, and ever since the mid-80s, it was bought by the Swatch Group. Swatch Group, being a massive company, has bought them up as well as many other watch companies. Signed Crown. I have no problem with the Swatch Group. I am impressed with a lot of their brands, of course, Omega being one of them. I'm a huge Omega fan, and I think that this has been a very, very nice watch. Excellent brand. I like the heritage of the brand, the movement. I tested it. It was just literally a few seconds off. And that is, of course, partly thanks to that COSC certificate. And this one's a few years old. I think it's from 2021. I'm not positive, but it shows a little bit of wear, but it's in really good shape. Of course, butterfly clasp on this one. And that dial is really where it's at. I will say, I have been wearing this on this strap from Watch Gecko. It is a padded leather strap from Watch Gecko. I have been very impressed. I think it matches very well. If I can figure out how, I'll post some pictures of that strap on the watch. It just wears so well. And Longines as a company, of course, just like all of the others, struggled during the quartz crisis. But one of the reasons why Swatch was able to buy up so many companies was due to the quartz crisis. And in the mid 80s. That's how Swatch Group became so powerful and valuable. And historically though, they have kept their, true to form design elements. And you can see longer lugs on this one, and I'll go over dimensions in a second, but not much of a curve to it, but a little bit. Some people do complain about longer lugs on these. This is the 40 millimeter version. It does come in a 37 for a smaller, and it also comes in a 42, which is quite a bit bigger. And I will say, at this point, the 40 for me was probably about perfect as far as size. And the dimensions on these bad boys, let's see here. Let me see if I can measure it. This is listed or billed at 40. We got right at 40 on the diameter. That crown, you see a little bit of a curve in that crown, 12.5, nice thin, 12.4-ish. The lug to lug, I'll try to measure the actual lugs if I can. Lug to lug comes in at, it's right at 50 at the end of those lugs. It's so hard to get that measurement. I think it's labeled at 49, but I get right at 50. It's a little bit longer. 49.6 right there. But if you do measure that little overhang, you're looking at 54. So yes, of course, it does have a little bit longer lugs. However, it still wears very well. And let me try that on just so everybody can see it. Sometimes you pick up watches randomly. I like this green strap on here, this Carl Boucheret. I'm a sucker for those Instagram ads, and this thing was very cheap, so I ordered it, and well, there it is. It's kind of pretty, it's shiny. I may have to do a giveaway on one of these. I'll think of some reason to do that. But let's try this on, and I can talk a little bit more about my wearing experience with this one. Again, it has a little butterfly clasp. Ta-da! There it is on my wrist, 7¼ inch wrist right there. I think it wears great. Now, nice and slim. I love that style. Really, the star of the show on these is that dial. And with all of the Longines that I have experienced, it has been that exact same. These have an impressive 72-hour of power reserve, and it has they call it in-house caliber L888.4 movement. Of course, it is automatic. And at this point, the dial they call with the blue, they call it Sunray Blue. And they say the hands are sandblasted, I guess. So they have a little bit of a sheen to them, but they appear to be white. And I do like that red ticking second marker. It's just very impressive. Really, I think that these go well on multiple straps, and both the blue and this comes in a black and a green. The blue and the black, I think, are very good strap monsters, or pretty close to it. And at this point, these have, I do believe, a 50 meters of water resistance, which is enough for generic swimming, etc. This is not a dive watch, so it's not a watch that you're going to want to, of course, go scuba diving with and maybe diving very, very deep. However, I think that 50 meters is plenty for the average user. I would call this a potential Geta watch, go anywhere, do anything. And I will say, one of the most impressive parts of that dial, of course, those applied, numerals there, is the loom. Those are all loomed, and I'm going to show a picture of it. And if I can include it in the middle, I'll do it right here by magic. And if that doesn't work, well, it'll be at the end. But I'm going to figure out how to splice those, stick them in. Again, another Longines, excellent watch, very well done. I like the adjusting differences in brushed versus polished. Got a little edge here of polished and a little bit of brushing. Their brushing is just very well done. Longines just does an excellent job. All of the finishing is very good. The bracelet on this is excellent. It does not have micro adjust, which I will say is a small complaint, but it is not that style of watch. It is a bit of a finesse bracelet. It's a little bit thinner. It's not thick like the Hydro Conquest is. That is a more chunky watch, but this is also not quite as thin as the Conquest is. The Conquest is very thin and a little bit more elegant. This is kind of in the middle. And you see there is brushed on the outside and you have these two little veins of polished ribbing. It's just such a nice, well done watch. And this does have half length. So I was able to get a very good finish. It's perfect. It's got enough space to wiggle around. It does not rotate or flip off the wrist. But again, I really prefer these on the rubber strap. I think the look of it and the comfort of it, honestly, just impressive. So very nice watch. Thanks everybody for watching. And if you've got comments, leave them down below. If you think of something that you want to see, let me know and I'll try to pick it up and take a review of it. Thanks.